the Australian Association of Bush Regenerators 2024 National Forum was hosted by our Victorian branch. Exploring the R's of ecological restoration, restoring biodiversity through resilience, regeneration, reintroduction, and reconnecting to country.
Presenters Ben Cullen and Renee Sweetman are here to share with us their experiences sharing, learning and working together on country learning. They have been working on the Warreen Beek Conservation and Ecosystem course for First Nations students. Renee is an ex-student who has come back to the course to help teach future students. The course has been running for 7 years and allows a chance for First Nations students from all around Australia to come and learn from elders and community members on country. Today they are going to talk about the course, Indigenous Land Management and Pathways. Please welcome Ben and Renee.
I'd like to start off by acknowledging the traditional owners, the Wurundjeri of the country that we're on, and pay our respects to elders both past, present and emerging. I want to say what a pleasure it is to be here in a room of people who've made such change, people who are doing such great things. There's so much positive energy in the room, and to think I see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of people have been doing this work for a long time. So to know that we're all here together and working towards a common goal is absolutely amazing and exciting. We've actually got 4 people on stage, you might notice, instead of 2. We've got a couple of ex-graduates who've also helped with the course here today, Ben and Darren. They've agreed to come up and maybe answer a question or 2 that I throw at them as well, because I think it's great to know there's quite a few people who've graduated this course over time. But I should explain what that course is, so I'll get started. First of all, I work for Trust for Nature, so I don't particularly work in this space. Maybe I'm coming off 2 mics, so that's why I'm so echoey. And we work largely in private land protection and working with private landholders. I'm sure many people are aware of Trust for Nature, but basically it's about putting conservation covenants to protect land and using some tools that we have towards conservation, including covenants, stewardship and land acquisition. So if you ever have people in that space, we'd love to talk to you. And I'll jump through that because I really want to focus specifically on the course that we've been running. As I jump through, lots of people, lots of things. The Warreen Beek Rangers course. Now, starting off, we've been trying to work in this space for a long time, and about 8 years ago now, the course has been running for 7, but the year before that, the CMA sent out a paper document to lots of traditional owner elders and community members and said, rather than us coming to you with projects that we've created and seeking you to tick off on the projects we've created, what projects would you like us to create? Let's use our energy towards your goals rather than getting you to approve what we want to do. And basically a whole bunch of A4 bits of paper came back, and on that paper was one common thing which said seek tickets of accreditation for community members to work on country, manage country and acknowledge their knowledge in this space. So some of the people involved right at the start were Reece Collins and Uncle Dave Wandon, who had a tremendous lot to do with saying, okay, well, there's consensus amongst lots of First Nations groups around Melbourne that they want a course like this. What are the rules that we need to put in place to make sure it worked? And some other elders got involved, and basically we came up with a concept that meant that it'd be a Cert 3 in Conservation and Ecosystem Management. It would largely be completed outside, on country. It would expose people to lots of different environmental issues. It would be a chance for people to share knowledge. We'd have young people and elders doing it together. It would all be First Nations. It would be free, and it would run within the course of a year. So we went to Holmes Glen and we began sort of working through that process of figuring out how we could actually run this course. And as we ran that course, we needed to incorporate all those things. There had to be two-way learning. There had to be elders teaching young people. There had to be people sharing knowledge. And we had to make sure that when people left the course at the end, they had something that was going to help them with employment into the future. There's a bit of a paradoxical thing or something of providing a certificate of knowledge for people who already have a lot of knowledge in the space, more so than often the people teaching it. We wanted to create this course in such a way where we could really take in account of people's own knowledge, they could share it, and we can look at new ways of doing land management. And I think that's what we're all trying to do, is get the best impact that we can for conservation while we're out there. And so the course has been all about that, learning from First Nations people, sharing knowledge and hearing stories. So some of the things that get covered in it are incredibly practical about being out on country, and we've had a lot of people from registered Aboriginal parties and other people all throughout the state, even around the country, come and do the course over the years. But it includes things like revegetation, weed control. We can see chainsaw stuff there with Renee here holding one of the chainsaws. Mandy Nicholson's done the course, Bill Nicholson's done the course, other prominent community members have done the course, which has been really significant in shaping how we do it into the future. The course is supposed to evolve as we go through. And here's a picture of Chelsea and Renee. From when we did a burn, we do a lot of burning as part of it. This is actually out at Corranderk Station with Uncle Dave Wandon, where the course was able to go out and participate in the first cultural burn in 160 years on Corranderk Station. Absolutely amazing stuff to be part of, and incredible to see people out on country getting the chance to learn from elders, make change, and then we go back to these sites and see how they've changed over time and hear from the people involved. Many of our students have gone on to win or be nominated for Courier Student of the Year. We've got a really good success rate through, I think everyone here has been nominated or on the way to winning it. So it's been a really big thing over time. And it's not just been about directly land management, it's also been about tool making, things like this, incorporating that into the broader scope of the work that we do. We work alongside bush crews at times, and we sort of swap knowledge there, as along with councils and working on private and public land towards these goals. Are you able to play it? Is it? Yeah. Was there a special button for that?
It's really having Aboriginal people out on country doing work, caring for the land and the biodiversity works that they do. But also it gives the people in the community an opportunity to work and talk with Aboriginal people, and they can hear the issues that they face and how they have maintain that connection to country and the interests they have there.
I think this course is important because it gives an opportunity for members to get some training in the land management works, and opportunities to participate actively on protection of country and the protection of Indigenous cultural values on Warreen country as well.
Through this course, it's been great where the work that we do is protecting the sites for future generations to come.
The most memorable moment for me was planting grass trees, knowing that my kids and my grandkids can go and visit them, and yeah.
They made me look at the bush in a way that I've never looked at it before, and gave me new perspectives on the land. And I hope I've been able to teach them some things too about threatened species.
Through this course, it's been great where the work that we do is protecting the sites for future generations to come.
We would love to have a trainee of the course working with Trust for Nature, and we imagine that there'll be many other organisations who would like that too, once the word gets around, which it's going to.
Yeah, so a lot of councils have been involved over time, and it's been a big thing in getting as many people as we can involved to share this knowledge. We've been, in a large way, auspiced by the Bunurong Land Council. who've been a big driver for this and helped raise the funding, and many of their crew have actually gone through from their green team. Same as the Wurundjeri Narrap Rangers who've supported the course over the years. Wadawurrung and this year Taungurung are getting involved as well. There's some photos just behind. We do things like planting mangroves in Western Port Bay and a whole bunch of other activities that I might flick through in the background. I'm just going to introduce Renee, who I might ask a question to, and then Ben and Darren, I might throw one out to you if that's okay too. So the first question I wanted to ask, what's been your experience of being part of this course? Renee was a previous student who's now gone on to lead.
So firstly, I would just like to say that I'm a Bunurong, Bunurong and Yora Yora woman, and I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting here today on Wurundjeri country. So I started the course a couple of years ago and then went on to be a ranger. But I guess throughout my time doing the course, there are a few kind of moments that really stood out to me. And one of those Ben was talking about just before with Uncle Dave Wandin. So the first cultural burn that had happened in 160 years. And I guess that was really significant for me and really kind of highlighted the importance that not everything can be learnt in textbooks. I think if you listen and pay attention, that the land and country will be able to tell you how to manage it. Being able to see and feel and hear and all that kind of stuff, so yeah. And
you went on to work in land management yourself. What was your experience in working in that space?
So I've done a fair few things over the years. I worked for the Bunurong Land Council as a ranger, and I also worked in a water corporation as well. I think, in this westernised kind of world, I wouldn't have been able to do these things if I didn't have that certification. And another thing I would like to mention is that that certificate also gave me access to cultural lands and landscapes that I probably wouldn't have been able to access as well, which is kind of a bit, full on if you think about it in that aspects, but there are a lot of places that I wouldn't have been able to go had I not have had that certification.
Thank you. Ben, would you be able to tell us a bit about your experience doing the course?
Thanks, mate. Thanks, everyone, you fellas, for your talks today. My experience in the course was great. It's interesting the difference coming from having studied in more of a Western format to going to study with other blackfellas on country, learning from uncles and aunties and hearing them talk. You pick up a lot more than you would if you were studying in a Western format. I think the difference it made was I was able to be around other fellas who were how do I put this? In touch with the country that I was going to be working on, and like Renee said, gives you access to land that you should have access to anyway, and it opened up a whole heap of avenues as well to go work on country. The Tarbuk Beek team at Bunurong. Yeah, so it was bloody great.
That's great. We're just looking at some photos here of the burns at Corrindurk that we were part of. You can see how significant it is to be right there amongst the flames. And I've just showed before, some of the students even started making their own stone axes to replace the tomahawks they were using, which was really cool to be part of. I think we've been trying to build a lot of projects and build ways that people can get involved. This course is free to any First Nations people who want to join. So if there are people in your workplaces or in your community who are looking for an opportunity to come along and get this accreditation and share knowledge and work alongside other First Nations people in the field, this is a really good chance to come out and assist. They can also help shape the course into the future, which is really important, to make sure that it adapts to the needs and the changes that are going on in the landscape. Anything you want to add, Darren? Thank you so much.
So I graduated the course last year. I was 39 and quite nervous to get into a new industry after not doing so well at school, but the support from Trust for Nature and Holmes Glen was exceptional, and it landed me what I class as my dream job, being on country, healing country, but in turn healing myself as well. So yeah, I owe a lot to this course, and I recommend anyone to get involved in it, and any other organisations out there to get their employees on board. So yeah.
Thank you. And as well as the burning, I think we've got a lot involved in bush foods and things like that throughout the years. Gotcha. And so at the start of the course each year we start propagating some murnong, some yam daisies, which grow up throughout the course of the year, and we get to take home at graduation. It actually grows in the cycle of the time that we have through the course. These are some ones we grew a few years ago in Renee's year, and you can see they went absolutely huge. They just went crazy. So they grew really quickly, and we ended up building a bush food box for them because we were anticipating that they'd get quite big. We put it out on rill on a bit of land that's we've been working with the Land Council on, who's been managing and will hopefully be owning soon. And throughout that process, Renee kept an eye on them, and she lives out that way. This is out on Phillip Island way. And we had to keep the Cape Barren geese out. But you'll see they started to get absolutely huge, and we thought we're onto a good thing here. And then they got to the stage where they just got ridiculously big, and we started calling the herbarium and things like that, because the leaf was just so massive. We grow lanceolata as well as walteri, so we mix it up and try the different species. But it's been absolutely great part of our journey to be growing bush foods as part of the course, learning from different people who are doing that work, and then getting to harvest and take home. Do you remember harvesting those? And you actually cooked them, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh. This is my worst nightmare, but I'm going to do it anyways. This whole process is really amazing. So we planted murnongs out there in the planter box that the students had made together, which was really beautiful. And yeah, they started to become huge and just massive. And so once they were big enough, because my family lives out that way, I had my daughter come out and the rest of my family come and harvest it, and then take it home and cook it up. And just that whole process of watching it from start to finish and being able to do that was a really healing experience, even though it might not seem as if it's a huge thing. It actually was. So yeah, it was really cool.
So I guess in closing, I want to say especially thank you to you guys, the graduates and people who've shaped it in the future, for coming up and talking, and some on very short notice too, so apologies for that. But also to say, with this course, please think about how it could fit in with the work that you're already doing, how maybe you could support students, future students, to work through it, how you could maybe help shape it into a way that we can make this available to as many people as we can, and help get people get that accreditation that they need. So thank you so much for having us here today. And there'll be a chance for questions later on. So thank you so much.
Massive thanks to our forum sponsors: City of Yarra, DNA Training, Arbour Green, Merri Creek Management Committee, Ecological Consultants Association Victoria, Stantec Australia, Global Green Environmental, NRM Jobs, and Nature Links. Arbour promotes the study and practice of ecological restoration and fosters and encourages effective management of Australia's natural areas by qualified people based on sound ecological principles. Join us to help promote good work practices, to strengthen our industry and network with like-minded people. Thanks for visiting Regen TV. Call by again soon for more restoration content you can trust.